welcome back to Current Calamities, where I take a break from the past to look forward to the future with the games of the present.
Mario Strikers Battle League, the next entry into the Plumbers Gritty Football series that I honestly kinda forgot about.
It's been like 15 years since the last entry, and in between then and now, I haven't been able to play any in the series. Though I do remember watching We Like to Pray LPing Charged and thinking it was cool.
I played just about every other Mario sports series, including tennis, the Olympics, baseball, mixes, and golf across different platforms, but for whatever reason, Strikers seem to be avoiding me.
That is, until today, as I have it in my hands, and I'm curious if it'll be worth the wait. We'll soon find out once we get down and dirty.
I already got a slight head start by doing some training just so I could get familiar with the controls. You didn't miss much besides getting to kick Yoshi in the face. A bunch. Did a quick practice match since it's been a few days, so now I'm ready to go into a quick battle and introduce you to my team.
A lot of thought went into this. Out of the 10 selectable characters, I chose Waluigi as team captain. Obviously a no-brainer. Got his brother Wario in there to act as heavy. Yoshi will act as our light and sprightly mascot, and to wrap it all up, let's get Luigi in there. I make a point of being the visitors or the right team, as that's the only side that has Waz colors. Odd, but okay. Each team can choose what half of the 5 stadiums they want to play on, and they, as far as I know, don't differ in much of anything besides look. So the point of it is anybody's guess. Okay, I'll take possession and pass. Attempt a shot. Ooh, but there's an opening, and bam! Goal! Now, it isn't that easy, I assure you that was lucky.
Alright, so you probably know the goal, and that's to score as many points as possible by getting the ball into the net. And I would say kicking, but a couple characters take some liberties. The trick will come down to how you make the shots, which will rely on some teamwork by passing and carefully executing shots. Of course, it wouldn't be a Mario game without some items to spice things up, and they come in the form of question blocks thrown onto the field by the fans.
The only time something good gets thrown into a sporting event, because it never goes well in real life. It can actually get weird.
There's a good amount on offer, including shells, bananas, and a couple more. You could even get team-specific question blocks if a teammate gets tackled that doesn't have the ball. Oh, did I mention there's tackles?
Man, this is starting to turn more into rugby than it is football. I know some sports.
You also have this orb that'll appear at random, and when anyone collects it, it'll grant the player's team the ability to do a hyper strike for a brief amount of time. What do those entail? Well, I'll let our resident Ouija demonstrate for us.
It's the little extra things that make a game like this fun.
Depending on how you handle the meters will determine how likely your hypershot will go in the goal, but I still managed to pull off a close 2-1 victory over Mario's crew. A win is a win, no matter the margin, so I think I'm good enough to try out the cup battles. They're tourney style as you would expect, and I chose to be orange cause I couldn't choose purple otherwise.
Lame.
But orange on purple works well, though I look like a skinny PB&J with a whole lot of peanut butter. While I was dominating the competition, I got a chance to see more of my team's hyperstrikes, with half of them ass-oriented.
Nintendo allows the more nasty stuff with a game like this. It makes sense why this is here too. Have you ever seen Wario throw a curve before? Cause he can make some sweet goals from what I discovered. Remind me when the eventual baseball game comes here to have Wario as the pitcher.
I played through the first 2 cups and it honestly became a breeze, so much so that I came to this conclusion.
This game is kinda boring in the grand scheme, and I think I can back that up.
For starters, I don't think the game is that overly difficult, but that may be just me doing the beginner's cups, but if this is normal, I'd hate to see what easy is like. The AI is also not quite up to snuff in my opinion, and I feel like I'm playing a near completed game, not a total package. With only this little of a roster and not as much depth in the maps or other regions, this feels more like a step backward than it is forward.
Honestly, Charged had more going for it, way more grit, characters, and personality. Battle League in comparison just seems bland. You can argue this is more of a multiplayer experience to have with friends, but honestly, who's going to be talking about this game in the next few months? I don't think there's enough variety like in a Mario Party to keep this game going. And besides the Battle Cups, there's no other form of story, which I think is a huge missed opportunity. Not only are you ostracizing players who don't want to pay for online, but this would have been a great time to go into a little lore, or maybe have a story, to have at least something else to do. Super Rush had that covered, but you're gonna have to with that, it's golf. But my point is, if Camelot could do it, why can't Next Level Games? Probably answered my own question, didn't I?
You better hope some DLC is inbound, cause the only other thing worth mentioning is the gear settings. You do earn a certain amount of coins every time you win a quick battle or cup, and you can spend them all here to give all your characters some costume upgrades. Looking good, wow. The gear you choose, however, will affect your stats, so you have to choose wisely which gear would benefit you and the characters the most.
Now this answers my question why Next Level couldn't do what Camelot did, for they only took the worst part of Super Rush.
I didn't know what I was gonna get with this, but apparently what I was expecting was way too much. I played the third cup with my gear equipped and not much else changed. I still came out on top, but looking more like a badass from the future. I really can't figure out what Nintendo was thinking that this was the best they could do, but then again, they are hard to figure out.
So with all that being said, what's my overall opinion?
Now that I played Battle League, I definitely want to go back and play Charge just so I can prove my point further. While still being a very playable game with its mechanics and little grit that make it a striker's game, it doesn't really measure up to its past, nor does it have enough to really keep you coming back for more after you play through all the trophies or online with pals for a spell. I definitely don't think this is for everyone, but if you think it's for you, then what do I know? Just don't pay full price for this. That's a waste of funds you're just feeding to disappointment. So what do you think? Do you agree with me, or have your own thoughts? Let me know by leaving a comment. If you like what you see, like the video with those thumbs up. If you think anyone else would like this vid, share it around. And if you want to see more of me, this show, and others, hit the subscribe button. I'm BrianTheBlue, thanks for watching. I'm going back to the past, and until next time, I'll see you in the future.